Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And now for something completely different. It's been at least a month since I last wrote a blog, and I really doubt anyone will have noticed. I know it's kind of cynical, but it's the way it is. Then again, I didn't have anything of importance to say, so I figured people, the few who actually read the blog that is, were getting tired of the same old, same old. What exactly is the same old? Pretty straightforward. I speak about the work I did, if any, during the week. I talk about the various projects I've worked on and post links to anything I added to the site. Then I would bring up and give brief reviews for movies or TV shows I might have viewed, and of course talk about the books I finished that week. Considering that I drive and I listen to my books on audio all the time, I tend to go through 2 or 3 a week depending on the length of the book. And of course, I would go off on the occasional rant, which I'm kind of famous for, well, or infamous if you prefer. After 3 years of doing this, even I got tired of the same old shit all the time, every week in and week out. So, I honestly doubt I'll go back to a weekly blog. Then again, for those of you who have followed my blog for any length of time, you will know firsthand how often I change my mind. If it turns out I have something interesting to say, then I'll see about blogging more often. But don't count on it. As it turns out, the title, which some of you will recognize, of this blog is just that. In fact, I am doing something completely different now. Well, duh, thank you, Captain Obvious. Last year I suggested to Michael Varhola about doing an actual video blog. I had a serious issue with my old computer system, which was full of bugs and probably viruses out the yin-yang, probably more than a $2 Streetwalker has. And it just made it impossible. I couldn't get my camera to work properly. Then again, as people who follow my blog know, I do have a brand new system, so it makes things a little easier. Thus, how I'm able to do this right now. Well, this is actually my second attempt at doing anything like a video blog. Anybody who pays attention to the Skirmisher website, the D-Infinity page, will know that earlier this week, I posted my first podcast ever. It's one where I unboxed one of the games I backed on Kickstarter called... What was it again? Good grief. I'm having a brain fart right now. I apologize. Anyways, you can find it on the page, and there will be a link on the actual physical blog for this. Well, it's the beginning of something new for me. Now, a few of you might be wondering if I've done any work on anything at all, any of the projects. In a word, no. Well, I guess I'd be lying by saying that. I started to tear apart the entertainment monster file into different types of monsters. You know, aberrations, magical beasts, humanoids, plants, oozes, and all those kind of types that can be found in the Pathfinder core books. If and when, and it's a big if and when, I regain my creativity, I'll have the first part of the job finished. The critters will be separated, and it'll make at least one part of my job a lot easier. When I left off on this particular project on Wednesday, I ripped out all the creatures up to and including the letter D. Believe it or not, that barely put a dent in the file. I'll more than likely do the same for the New Mutant Monday creatures as well. After all, I have 2 volumes of those. Okay, this might sound like a whine, so take it as you will. My creativity is dead and gone. I have attempted several times to be creative, and had pretty much no luck whatsoever. Christ on a crutch, I haven't even written a single word in a story, or for that matter worked on the mystery book I mentioned that I was working on back in November. I really hope my creativity will return, but I just can't seem to bring myself to being creative at anything at all at this time. Maybe it has something to do with my mom passing. Maybe there's other factors. I don't know. Maybe I just need a break. Only time will tell. Could this mean that my burgeoning career as a writer and as a game designer will be over before it really has begun? That's a very distinct possibility. People get tired. Anyhow, I did post a couple of articles about 3D printing on the site earlier this week. I posted the step-by-step procedure for creating Poe Dameron's blaster, as well as Chirrut Imwe's props for the costumes that I wore at the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo last month. They're not tutorials, they're just step-by-step pointing out how I did the things, the mistakes I made, the various chemicals, well, paints, glue, that kind of stuff I used. So take it as you will. Maybe you'll find it useful, maybe you won't. I don't know. I just hope that you'll actually take the time to read them. And these are not blogs, these articles are actually listed on the website, and the links will be in my physical blog, which you can read at any time. Anyways, I also read a mess of books over the past month. Way too many for me to bother writing any kind of review. So if you happen to be the kind of person that likes that part of my blog, sorry, maybe next time. Movies? Yeah, I watched quite a few over the past couple of months. But again, I'm not going to bother with reviews at this point in time. I'll list the ones I did watch, though. Fate of the Furious, Logan, Kong Skull Island, and Ghost in the Shell. And yes, I recommend all of them. Even Ghost in the Shell. I know it's shocking. I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 yet. Well, it wasn't for lack of trying. It's a long and stupid story, so I won't bother getting into it. I mentioned it, and yes, I did go to the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo last month. I got my photo with several different actors or celebrities. John Cusack, oh boy. Guy didn't even bother taking off his hat and glasses. I was seriously unimpressed. Billy D. Williams, Lando. Bob Morley from The 100. Jeremy Renner. If you don't know who he is, then you're not a fan of Marvel movies. Melissa O'Neill and Roger Cross. Both those actors are from a series that I really like called Dark Matter. It was overall a pretty damn good experience. I really enjoyed myself. Although, due to circumstances, and I'm not going to bother getting into them, I seriously doubt that I'll ever bother spending the $400 on a Celebrity Fast Pass again. Or, as they were known in the past years, VIP passes. If you want to know, you can send me a message and I'll explain why. But it's too much of an effort to bother putting it in the blog. Now, for a real shocker. At this time, I actually have 3 travel destinations that are on my bucket list. Oddly enough, a bucket list is something I thought I would never ever make. They are the Star Wars Celebration, I think that's in Anaheim if I'm not mistaken, Dragon Con in Atlanta, and I don't care what it is, but I'd really actually love to go see some sort of massive anime convention in Tokyo. Again, I don't care what the convention is, I just want to go and check one out just to say I have. In, well, the land where it came from. Well, we'll have to see what happens. I'm hoping to see at least one or more of these conventions or bucket list destinations over the next couple of years. Maybe sooner, maybe later. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And that's it. I've got nothing else to say, so there you go. My first video blog ever. Maybe it's a trend starting. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I've said it quite a lot this blog, haven't I? Anyways, until next time, stay happy, folks, and peace out.